Okay, everyone, take a deep breath and buckle up. The news we've all been holding our breath for is finally here.
hmm
Netflix just dropped the official release dates for the fifth and final season of Stranger Things, and they're doing it in a way that feels like this huge holiday event.
It really is. It's not just like, here are the episodes. It's
Yeah.
it's an experience,
Yeah, designed to dominate the end of 2025.
for sure. They're clearly aiming to make this the conversation starter.
Yeah.
The binge-watching focus, the cultural moment across several weeks of the most anticipated time of year.
It's smart. A very clever strategy to build and maintain maximum anticipation.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And you, our dedicated listener, you brought in this incredible stack of sources. We've got articles from entertainment sites, in-depth interviews with the cast, the Duffer Brothers,
Detailed breakdowns of the teaser footage, yeah.
behind-the-scenes insights.
Basically everything we need to fully dissect what's coming.
Yeah.
So our mission today in this deep dive is to pore over these sources, extract every crucial nugget, understand the scale and scope of this final chapter, and just get ourselves mentally prepared for the final battle for Hawkins.
Exactly.
It's a mission with a lot of emotional weight for fans, though, isn't it? I mean, think about the journey. In the show, Season 4 left off in spring '86.
Right.
And Season 5 picks up fall '87. That's over a year-and-a-half jump in their world.
But for us, the viewers, feels like forever since season 4 premiered back in, summer 2022?
Yeah, years in real time. So the anticipation built over these years, the emotional connection we all have with these characters after like 9 years of storytelling, wrapping that up is monumental.
It truly is. So before we fully plunge into the future, we have to ground ourselves in where season 4 left us.
Wow.
Because it wasn't exactly a clean win.
Oh, far from it.
Yeah.
Season 4 ended with this profound sense of dread, like impending doom. Despite everything the heroes did, Vecna basically succeeded.
Yeah, he did.
The sources describe it vividly. Vecna opening those massive rifts across Hawkins, tearing the veil between dimensions.
Leaving the town literally scarred, wounded.
Yeah, and it wasn't just metaphorical damage. The Upside Down physically started bleeding into reality. We saw that right at the end.
And the human cost was immediate and heavy. Characters left scattered, deeply impacted. Max, after that, just iconic, heartbreaking sequence with Vecna.
She was left comatose in the hospital.
Yeah.
And the sources are quite clear. Sadie Sink is returning.
Okay.
They say she's going to play a part in the final season, which is just fascinating given her state.
Right. How does that work?
Exactly. That's the question everyone's asking based on the sources and the fan speculation they report on.
Yeah.
How does a character in a coma participate in this massive final season? Is it flashbacks?
Or like her consciousness trapped somewhere upside down, maybe?
Or in Vecna's head? Or, is there hope for recovery? It's unclear. But the new footage, it shows Lucas by her hospital bed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a drawing Max made hanging nearby. It underscores her physical vulnerability, but her emotional significance is still huge. It's a potent visual.
Keeps her connected to the story, even while she's,
Mm-hmm.
unconscious.
Right. And then, of course, the character whose apparent fate hit so many viewers so hard, Eddie Munson.
Oh, Eddie. Yeah. The sources recount his heroic sacrifice, right? Seemingly giving his life to distract the Demobats.
Apparent is the key word there.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's the word that's fueled so much fan hope. And the theory crafting. Sources reporting on Joseph Quinn's own comments, they hint at the possibility of him appearing again.
Okay, possibilities. So maybe flashbacks, visions.
Something like that.
As
It's
if-
not confirmation he's alive, definitely not. But the door isn't slammed shut, according to these reports.
Interesting.
And this becomes extremely relevant when we look at those episode titles later. One title in particular feels deliberate, like a wink, or maybe something darker, related to Eddie.
Okay, we'll absolutely circle back to that. Definitely want to talk titles. What about Will Byers, the kid who started it all?
Right. Back in '83, his connection to the Upside Down, that link he's felt since season 1, it's explicitly highlighted in the sources. Vital to the final season.
He still senses Vecna, then.
Oh yeah, one source quotes Noah Schnapp saying, Will feels him, and he's hurting. So Vecna wasn't truly defeated, just.
Thwarted, temporarily.
Exactly. Will's psychic link, his deep understanding of the Upside Down because of his trauma, it remains central. And Noah Schnapp teased a beautiful payoff for Will's arc,
Payoff.
suggesting his unique relationship with this dark dimension is key to the resolution, whatever that looks like.
And the end of season 4 saw the gang finally reunited in Hawkins, right? After being spread out all over.
They were, yeah. But it wasn't exactly a triumphant homecoming. It was a return to a town under siege.
Because of the rifts.
Precisely. Those final moments showed the massive tears in the landscape, deep scars. The boundary was breached. The sources really emphasized that the final battle isn't just possible anymore, it's inevitable.
Looming.
Yeah, looming against a darkness more powerful and more deadly than anything they faced before. Vecna, wounded but still connected, preparing his final move. And the synopsis suggests his ultimate plan is still this terrifying unknown.
Okay, so the board is set for this final apocalyptic showdown. And now, the when. The moment we've all been waiting years for. The release schedule itself feels like a strategic move to just crank up that anticipation.
It absolutely does. The big reveal came at the Netflix Tudum 2025 event. And the strategy is, well, it's unique for the show.
Yeah.
Season 5 is being released in 3 distinct volumes.
3? Okay.
Yeah, deliberately spread across the busiest, most festive part of the year.
I break it down.
First up, Volume 1, November 26, 2025. That's 4 episodes. Drops right before U.S. Thanksgiving.
Perfect timing. Get everyone hooked right as the holidays kick off. Start the family arguments early.
Exactly. Then, Volume 2 follows on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2025. You get 3 episodes, like a literal Christmas gift from the Duffers.
Okay. Guaranteed talking point during awkward family dinners.
Definitely. And finally, the series finale, Volume 3. It's a single, extra-long episode.
Just one.
Just one. Premieres on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2025.
Wow. Ringing in the new year with the literal end of Stranger Things. That's an event.
It really is. And all these volumes drop globally at the synchronized time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
So everyone gets it at the same moment, fuels that immediate global Twitter meltdown.
Pretty much. Different local times, obviously. But
Sure.
the intent is that singular moment when it becomes available everywhere.
This isn't just a release. It's, like you said, orchestrated. Designed to build and sustain maximum hype. Starting before Thanksgiving, hitting Christmas, culminating on New Year's Eve. That's 3 distinct viewing parties.
3 waves of social media buzz, yeah. 3 opportunities for theories to just explode between volumes.
It prolongs the whole experience, doesn't it? Turns the premiere into this multi-week thing.
It does.
Yeah.
And gives fans time to digest, analyze, speculate, especially leading into that single final episode on New Year's Eve. It maximizes the anticipation cycle, keeps the show front of mind all holiday season. Netflix leveraging anticipation for its biggest show. It makes total sense.
And speaking of climax and scale, the Duffer Brothers. They've used some pretty potent language to describe what's coming. Sources quote them calling it their biggest and most ambitious outing yet.
They've gone further, famously comparing the scale of the final season to 8 blockbuster movies.
8 movies. Okay, that sounds like hyperbole, but...
Maybe a little, but the sources detailing the production seem to back it up. It implies truly massive action sequences, unprecedented visual effects for the series, a production scale far beyond anything we've seen before.
And crucially, they've said there will be no time for a ramp-up. Sources report they promise it'll be intense from beginning to end.
Yeah, that's a key distinction from, say, Season 4, which had characters spread out, multiple storylines that eventually converged.
Took a while to get everyone together.
Exactly. The promise for Season 5, highlighted in the sources, is the core group is back together from the start, united in Hawkins, immediately confronting the threat. Ross Duffer specifically noted it will feel familiar, like Season 1.
Everyone in Hawkins dealing with the monster.
Right, that dynamic. But, as he said, on a massive scale.
The production insights mentioned in the sources really underscore this promised scale. Filming wrapped in December 2024, right?
Yeah, which was a huge milestone after all the delays, partly due to the strikes.
Right.
But as the sources explain, filming is just one piece. A show this complex, especially with the scale and effects they're promising, requires extensive, incredibly complex post-production.
All those visual effects.
Yeah.
Bringing the merged upside down to life, Vecna's full power, that takes ages.
An enormous amount of time and resources. And the budget focus, according to sources, is heavily on building out the world. There's an increased emphasis not just on digital effects, but practical effects too.
Oh, interesting. Like old school monsters?
Well, maybe not that old school, but yeah, practical effects, intense stunts, building expansive new environments.
So that 8 blockbuster movies thing feels more tangible then.
It does. Sources describe a major part of the budget going into constructing detailed sets, representing the physical merging of Hawkins with its dark mirror dimension.
So they're actually building these nightmare landscapes, not just green screens.
Seems like a significant amount of it, yeah. Building these hybrid realities for the actors to actually inhabit. That level of physical world building suggests a truly immersive, terrifying environment for the final battle.
And that final episode, Volume 3 on New Year's Eve, confirmed to be extra long.
Sources suggest it could potentially exceed the 2.5-hour runtime of the season 4 finale.
Wow.
They're aiming for that return of the king-level grandeur the Duffers mentioned. It kind of needs the time, right?
Yeah.
To provide a satisfying resolution to a 9-year story.
Definitely. The tone is being described as this blend, epic, high-stakes war film grandeur, but with the core Goonie-style heart.
Yeah, that characterized the earlier seasons. It's the final war, but hopefully the emotional core, the friendship, the family, that remains central.
The Duffers have talked about working closely with Netflix and the writing team, making sure all the major character arcs feel concluded meaningfully.
That focus on emotional payoff, with significant callbacks to earlier seasons, particularly season 1, it feels like a deliberate effort. Bring the story full circle, resonate with longtime fans, balance the spectacle with the personal stakes.
Okay, let's dig into one of the most significant structural details mentioned in the sources, that time jump. Season 5 kicks off in the fall of 1987.
Yeah, it's a deliberate leap. Over a year and a half after the end of season 4 in spring '86, but maybe more crucially, it places the final season 4 full years after season 1 started, back in fall '83.
And the significance of that date, fall '87, arriving right around the 4-year anniversary of Will Byers' disappearance. That feels incredibly intentional.
It absolutely does. Symbolically links the end directly back to the beginning. That 4-year cycle from the initiating event to the final confrontation. It creates this powerful narrative symmetry.
The time jump also means the characters will have aged, which, let's be honest, aligns with the real-world actors getting older.
True. They'll be older, maybe more mature, but also potentially more scarred by everything they've endured. And they'll be grappling with a Hawkins that is fundamentally, visibly changed.
Right, those massive rifts tearing open. The sources and synopsis hint this isn't a secret anymore. Hawkins is likely under some kind of lockdown.
Exactly. Sources suggest a town grappling with the fallout. Breakdown of normal life, maybe martial law, designated refugee zones, significant military intervention trying to contain this supernatural catastrophe.
It's a huge shift. Takes the contained horror of the early seasons and blows it up into a town-wide disaster zone.
Yeah. The characters are returning home, but it's a home that's almost unrecognizable, physically intertwined with the Upside Down now. And the sources reinforce this promise of significant callbacks to early seasons, especially season 1, focusing on that emotional core, maybe even flashbacks.
Like revisiting Will's original vanishing, or 11 opening that first gate.
Could be. Delving into those key moments that started it all.
And speaking of characters, the heart of the show has always been its ensemble. Sources confirm the return of the core cast, which is huge.
Oh, yeah. Winona Ryder as Joyce, David Harbour as Hopper, Millie Bobby Brown as 11, Finn Wolfhard as Mike, Gaten Matarazzo as Dustin, Caleb McLaughlin as Lucas, Noah Schnapp as Will, Sadie Sink as Max,
Natalia Dyer as Nancy, Charlie Heaton as Jonathan, Joe Keery as Steve, Maya Hawke as Robin, Priya Ferguson as Erica,
Brett Gelman as Murray, Cara Buono as Karen, and Jamie Campbell-Bower returning as Vecna Henry Creel. Plus, Amy Beth McNulty, Vicky, is now a series regular.
So the core group is back, ready for the final fight.
Yep.
And some intriguing new additions join them. Linda Hamilton, the legend, in a mysterious role.
That casting alone builds immense anticipation, doesn't it? Given her history, like Terminator, Aliens, who is she playing? Allie. Threat. The mystery around her role, only hinted at in the sources, is a potent hook.
Definitely. And Alex Bro, who played young Brenger in the Stranger Things stage play, The First Shadow.
Yeah, he's joining the TV series as Elton Akers, a military figure.
That's a fascinating tie-in. Suggests the show will weave elements or characters from the prequel play into the main story. Could deepen the lore around Brenner, maybe the origins of the Upside Down.
It seems likely. We also have a recast for Holly Wheeler, Mike's younger sister. Nell Fisher is taking on the role.
And sources hint she's expected to have a bigger part this season.
That's the buzz. And Jake Connolly is playing someone named Derek Turnbow.
Turnbow. Okay, we'll come back to that name. Let's really dive into what the sources tell us about specific character statuses, potential arcs. This is where the speculation gets rich. Max, as we discussed, comatose. But Sadie Sink is back.
Right. And the sources talking about her return emphasize the mystery, how she participates. Theories fueled by the show's use of psychic spaces and Vecna's abilities, they revolve around her consciousness being active somewhere, trapped, interacting with the Upside Down or Vecna's mindscape.
That drawing Lucas has by her bed, seen in the new footage, Sounds like a poignant detail.
It is. Sources describe it as a quiet symbol of hope, their connection amidst the chaos. It keeps Max's story and Lucas's connection to her very much alive, even in her current state.
Yo, Eddie Munson, the character sparking the most intense speculation, despite his apparent death.
Ah, yes, the Eddie question. Sources carefully phrase it. Apparent death, heroic sacrifice. Acknowledging what we saw, but also reporting on Joseph Quinn's tantalizing comments about a possible return in some form.
So what elevates this beyond just fan wishful thinking?
It's that episode title list, particularly episode 6, Escape from Camazotz.
Camazotz, Dungeons & Dragons.
Exactly. In D&D lore, Camazotz is a bat-like monster, the god of bats and darkness.
Okay. Given Eddie's D&D background, his final stand against the Demobats.
And now this title featuring a D&D bat demon. It feels almost too specific to be a coincidence, right?
Feels like a deliberate breadcrumb. This title immediately fueled theories, didn't it? Especially the one linking Eddie to Cass.
Vecna's vampire lieutenant in expanded D&D lore. Yeah. The theory suggests Eddie could return, but corrupted, twisted by the Upside Down and its bat creatures. Maybe he's a servant of Vecna.
That's terrifying.
It is. And while it's purely speculative, based on a title and D&D parallels, the sources report this theory widely because the connection feels strong. Could Vecna use Eddie's form against his friends? The show loves its D&D allegories, and this one feels ripe.
Wow. Okay. Will Byers. Central from the start, central to the end.
His psychic connection to Vecna and the Upside Down isn't just acknowledged. Sources emphasize it's vital to the final season's plot. The show began with him disappearing into the Upside Down.
And maybe the resolution hinges on his unique link to it.
That's the suggestion. Noah Schnapp's comment about a beautiful payoff implies his struggle culminates significantly. Maybe he understands Vecna or the Upside Down in a way others can't.
That teaser footage ending with Will yelling, "Run!" with such terror.
Yeah, that strongly implies he's in immediate, maybe sacrificial danger early on. Puts him right back in the center of the peril.
And speaking of mirroring season 1, the recast of Holly Wheeler, and that episode title, The Vanishing of Redacted, with sources strongly suggesting the redacted name is Holly.
It feels like a direct echo of the first episode titled The Upside Down, which chronicled Will's vanishing.
So this is a huge clue. Holly's disappearance is likely a key early event in season 5, kicking off the main narrative thrust, just like Will's did.
Almost certainly. And sources describing set photos, placing Holly and Vecna in his Henry Creel form, possibly at the Creel house, maybe with young Brenner. It suggests this event might connect to flashbacks or visions, delving into the origins of the Upside Down and Vecna's power.
Is history repeating itself? Or is it exploring a past event involving her he didn't know about?
Good question. Adds layers to that title.
Joyce Byers, seen in new footage clutching an axe in a barn. Powerful callback to season 1.
It is. But the context is different. Season 1, she was breaking into the wall to reach Will. Here, sources suggest she's defending against something trying to break in.
The Turnbow farm. Maybe that's the Turnbow trap from episode 3.
Behind the scenes, sources hint that farm and barn are key locations. So yeah, with Will and others reportedly present in descriptions of this scene, it could be the site of a major early confrontation, Upside Down forces targeting them directly.
Dustin and Steve. Back together, seen in the Upside Down in new footage.
The iconic team-up continues. Sources mentioning Dustin is bloodied in behind-the-scenes photos from these scenes could link to him being attacked. Maybe not just by creatures, but maybe humans fueled by that satanic panic paranoia.
Oh, right, blaming the Hellfire Club.
Exactly. Their presence in the Upside Down, looking up at something unseen. It's one of the teaser's big mysteries.
Eleven and Hopper. Seen together, potentially in a military facility, Elle looks overwhelmed.
Yeah, maybe a hair powers or a psychic attack. Their bond is always that central emotional anchor. The military setting fits the synopsis mentioning government quarantine, the hunt for 11.
Is Vecna launching a direct psychic assault, trying to get inside her head?
Could be. Or maybe she's pushing her powers to the absolute limit. It highlights her continued vulnerability to Vecna, even as she prepares to face him.
It's also worth noting, Argyle isn't returning, right? Eduardo Franco confirmed that.
Yeah, that suggests the final season is really tightening its focus back onto the core Hawkins ensemble from the end of season 4, streamlining the narrative for the finale.
Okay, let's talk about that tantalizing teaser footage from Tudum. Sources really broke it down frame by frame. It was a brilliant mix, nostalgic recap, cryptic new glimpses.
Served its purpose perfectly. reminded us of the epic journey, from Will vanishing to the Upside Down, tearing open Hawkins, then hit us with these quick, impactful shots of what's coming.
Let's pick apart some key new shots based on the sources. Joyce with the axe in the barn.
Right, mirror image of Season 1, but defensive. Lights flickering, suggesting an imminent threat from the Upside Down trying to force its way in. Feels like an early attack, likely at that Turnbow Farm location.
Karen and Holly Wheeler cowering.
Powerful shot. Evokes Season 1 fear. Sources link this directly to the presumed vanishing of redacted episode, probably the moment before Holly disappears. A terrifying echo of the show's beginning, centering on the Wheelers this time.
Lucas by Max's hospital bed, her drawing there.
A quiet, emotional beat. Sources emphasize it conveys Lucas's devotion, the hope for Max's recovery, however slim. Humanizes her state, underscores the emotional stakes.
Steve and Dustin looking up in the Upside Down. Bloody Dustin, weird vine-like cables.
Intriguing shot. Sources speculate maybe near the Upside Down radio tower. What are they looking at? Massive creature. New structure. Dustin's bloodied look suggests a recent struggle. Sets up another classic Steve-Dustin peril situation.
11 screaming, nosebleed, Hopper present.
Almost certainly LA under immense psychic strain. Likely a direct mindscape confrontation with Vecna. Hopper being there suggests it's happening in their shared physical reality, maybe that military facility. Highlights her vulnerability.
But the shot that absolutely captivated everyone in the sources, that enormous organic wall in the Upside Down.
This thing is completely new. Unlike anything we've seen, sources describe it with unsettling detail. Sick, wet, veiny pulsating, almost disturbingly organic. A massive barrier reaching into the sky. Hopper and 11 looking up at it with awe, trepidation.
The speculation is wild. Some sources suggest a physical border between Hawkins' Upside Down and Dimension X, showing us the edge.
While others, leaning into that organic description, think it's more biological. Sources use comparisons like xenomorph egg pods or a fertilized egg latched onto a uterine wall.
Whoa!
Yeah. It connects to the idea that the Upside Down might be this artificial construct tied to Ellen Vecna's psychic battle. Maybe a temporary transitional organ Vecna's using to gestate something new, a more powerful creature. What does this massive pulsing wall protect or contain? It's maybe the biggest visual mystery from the teaser.
We also saw soldiers, new characters among them. Tense situation, dead soldier visible.
Infirms the military presence and the danger they face.
Yeah.
Fits the quarantine synopsis. Likely shows whatever's emerging for the rifts is overwhelming conventional containment. MP armbands visible too.
And something pounding from beneath metal plates on the ground. Red light glowing.
Physical manifestation of the invasion. Confirms creatures or forces are actively, violently trying to breach the barrier into the right side up. Shows the boundary is porous, the threat is immediate and coming from below.
Finally, the teaser ends. Chillingly. Will Byers yelling, "Run!"
That final moment. Will's face. Pure terror. Designed to leave you on edge. Sources discuss the raw emotion. Who's he yelling to? What's he running from? Or warning others about?
Could tie into that Turnbow trap, maybe Will's bait.
Sources speculate exactly that. Maybe Vecna's using him, forcing a terrible choice. Puts Will right back in the center of danger, just like the beginning.
All these visuals connect to the episode titles revealed in the teaser. Let's run through those 8 titles again.
Okay. 1, The Crawl. 2, The Vanishing of Redacted, likely Holly Wheeler. 3, The Turnbow Trap. 4, Source for 5, Shock Jock. 6, Escape from Camazotz. 7, The Bridge. And 8, The Right Side Up.
The Vanishing of Redacted and the Turnbow Trap seem pretty clearly linked to early events. Episodes 2 and 3, Turnbow Farm, Holly's disappearance.
Exactly. The title mirroring Season 1 confirms Holly's vanishing is pivotal, early. The Turnbow Trap suggests that Farm is the site of a planned ambush or dangerous situation.
Sorcerer, obvious reference to Will's D&D character.
Enforces his central role. Hints his connection, maybe even his D&D knowledge, will be crucial against Vecna.
Escape from Camazotz. The Eddie Munson situation, the D&D bat demon.
Heavily fuels those theories about his possible return or connection to upside-down creatures. The Cass vampire theory is Eddie coming back, question burning brightly, deliberately builds anticipation around his fate.
The Right Side Up, the final title, hugely symbolic.
Direct mirror and counterpoint to the Season 1 finale, The Upside Down, represents the ultimate goal. Reverse the intrusion, restore their world, turn the dark mirror back. Signals the final confrontation determining the fate of both dimensions. Hope of reclaiming their world.
Beyond plot points, sources highlight several overarching themes likely central to the finale. Trauma, for one.
Vecna's whole power structure relies on exploiting past trauma, guilt. Max, Billy, Hopper, especially Will, deeply marked by trauma. Sources explore if healing or finding strength within trauma could be key to undermining Vecna. Are their emotional journeys as important as the physical fight?
Sacrifice. Seems inevitable, right?
In a final war this big, sources speculate it could be someone deeply connected to Eleven whose powers started it, Will whose life is intertwined, Hopper who often sacrifices himself.
The nature of the Upside Down itself, still kind of mysterious, just a snapshot of 1979 or more.
Sources touching on the stage play tie-ins suggest the origin might be revisited. Connecting back to Eleven and Vecna's first catastrophic confrontation in '79 was the Upside Down born from that battle, a psychic echo, an unintended dimension, and that biological wall suggests it might be evolving, not static.
Will the threat stay contained in Hawkins? Or go global? Military quarantine suggests containment, but that pounding from below.
Sources differ. Some hint at global ramifications, others think it stays focused on Hawkins, the rest of the world ignorant behind a government barrier. The visual of something breaking through suggests containment is failing. Tension between containment and outbreak feels central.
And the social fallout. Satanic panic, blaming the Hellfire Club.
That element of human fear, prejudice, scapegoating adds another layer. Dustin could face harassment. The clash between supernatural horror and real human fear and blame. Potent theme for a final season, especially with the town physically fractured.
Finally, it's clear Netflix is pulling out all the stops, maintaining, building this intense anticipation.
Absolutely. The sources detail the whole strategy.
Yeah.
Behind the scene stuff, Tudum reveals, set photos, play tie-ins, maybe interactive experiences, all designed to keep fans engaged, speculating, incredibly hyped for that phased holiday release, building momentum towards the final countdown.
So, looking back at everything we've unpacked from this stack of sources, where Season 4 left our heroes, that brilliant anticipation-building holiday release, the massive scale promised, the time jump, character updates, cryptic teaser clues, thematic richness.
All signs point towards a conclusion that aims to be epic, emotionally resonant, and horrifying. The Duffers are clearly working to deliver a finale that honors the whole 9-year journey, bringing everyone back to Hawkins for a final fight against a threat born, maybe, from their own history.
It feels like the story is returning to its core roots, Hawkins, Will, Eleven's connection, but on a scale we couldn't have imagined in Season 1. The mysteries around the Upside Down's origin, Vecna's goal, the cost of this war, all converging.
There's so much writing on how they weave it all together, especially that complex connection between trauma, Vecna's power, Eleven's abilities, and the Upside Down itself.
And that brings us to a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to carry with you as we count down the days to November 26, 2025. Given everything the sources suggest Upside Down tied to El's first fight with Vecna weaponizing trauma, does truly defeating him mean confronting the origin point of the darkness? And if so, what might turning the right side up truly cost our heroes, if it requires a sacrifice or reckoning directly connected to that initial terrible event back in 1979 that started it all?
It implies the final victory might not just be about physical power, but about confronting history, trauma, and the deep, buried origins of the evil they've been fighting this whole time.